Great Depression. The stock market crash of 1929 was as big a shock to President Hoover as it was to other Americans. Before the crash, the economy seemed strong. Less than 4% of American workers did not have jobs before 1929. 1 year later, 9% of the workforce was unemployed. As sales of their products decreased, American businesses were forced into layoffs. A layoff occurs when a country lets workers go because it cannot afford to pay them. The Ford Motor Company, for example, was forced to cut its number of workers by 44% in 1931. Unemployment increased to 16%. 8 million Americans could not find work. Many people lost their life savings. President Hoover encouraged the American people to be patient. He believed the Depression would end with time. He said the nation had seen hard times before, and each time the economy had bounced back. President Hoover encouraged the American people to be patient. He believed the Depression would end with time. He said the nation had seen hard times before, and each time the economy had bounced back. President Hoover did not feel the federal government should have to help the unemployed. He believed state and local governments, private groups, and charities should help people. A charity is a group of people that helps those in need. According to Hoover, America was a strong democracy because Americans took responsibility for their own lives. Although he had been president for less than a year, people blamed Hoover for causing the Depression. Bitter Hoover jokes became popular. Empty pockets turned inside out were called Hoover flags. Unable to make loan payments to their banks, many people lost their homes. In many cities, homeless people built cardboard and tar paper shacks. These poorly built shelters gave some protection from the bad weather, but people living in them had to do without heat, lights, or running water. These slums became known as Hoovervilles. What caused the Depression? Several factors caused the Depression. The stock market crash was only one of the causes. Businesses had grown rapidly in the 1920s. They had produced many products quickly and often faster than consumers could buy them. This overproduction caused big changes in many companies. As production was made to slow down, workers were laid off. When the economy was good, people spent a lot of money. The strong economy encouraged them to buy more than they could have paid for. Many people had bought things on credit. Credit is the practice of buying something and paying for it later. Then, when people lost their jobs, they could not pay their debts. Banks that held paper on unpaid loans went out of business. Many foreign countries still in debt from the war were unable to buy products from America. In some cases, high tariffs were placed on American goods. In some cases, the American economy might have grown much stronger during the 1920s if these countries had been able to buy more U.S. goods. Since the end of the war, farmers had struggled with great financial difficulties. Prices for their goods had continued to go down. Many farmers were hardly able to support their families. They had little money to buy products that were necessary for survival. How did Americans lose confidence? During the Depression, the American people lost confidence in themselves and their country. People lived in fear of tomorrow. Businesses were afraid to make new investments. Workers thought that they could lose their jobs at any time. Unemployed workers had little reason to believe that they would ever find other jobs. Families stood in bread lines for free food. Homeless people slept in subways, parks, and old empty warehouses. Men who once worked regularly could be seen selling apples on the street. Across the country, Americans became very concerned about the nation's future.